John Smith's file that somebody who was informing on him turned up dead through
probably.
a violent accident or possibly
You're right.
homicide.
But it's so far away.
Knoxville's really
Knoxville
far away.
is so far away. Now you will see things that say that it was some kind of network, and they faxed out his picture to all their it was
Oh, yeah,
days
yeah,
of fax.
I know.
They faxed out his picture to all their gangs, and one of the gangs spotted him and did him in,
I've
and
heard
didn't
that one.
take the money
Well,
because it was proof of death is what they needed to get paid.
But
which
money,
is,
but like you would take the money though.
you would.
You would at
You
least
would think
part
you
of
would,
it,
yeah.
right?
Totally would
Yeah.
take the money.
No, I don't think it's a Canadian drug dealer.
No, I'm very sure it
I don't
wasn't.
care how Trailer Park Boys that is. They're not.
Okay, let's go on to our next international suspect because we have another theory.
Is this serious?
Yes, this is
Yeah.
actually out there.
These
Which
guys
is
were,
it's the Germans.
They were angry Germans, otherwise known as sauerkrauts.
You will see information out there from the sources that say that Blair had spent some time in Germany doing construction work, anywhere from 2 months to a year, depending on the source.
Yeah, I heard in one source I heard 3 months, 4 months.
Yeah, it's all over the map, and that he also left before the job was done for unknown reasons. And also, there is supposedly a woman involved, a German woman.
Woman?
Yeah, I don't think she was a
Girl,
woman.
maybe.
Yeah, 17, something like that.
Yeah, you hear it's a young woman. Okay, Blair at this time,
young
he was
woman.
31 when he died.
Yeah.
So he probably let's presume that this is accurate because I have some serious concerns with some of this, but let's say that it's accurate. That means he would have been at the most 30 at that time.
Yeah.
So hard to say. It says she was underage, and then from here we get two theories. So this one, as we're going to see in a lot of these, breaks into two different directions.
Okay.
The first direction is that Blair left Germany because her parents were angry and he had to go.
As you can imagine.
Yep, and maybe she was pregnant, or maybe she was ill,
Or maybe
I don't
they were
know.
high profile.
Something like that, or maybe they wanted him to pay up, and he eventually did, or he was willing to do it, and then he realized that they were gonna betray him. Sounds like a spy novel, I know. And so he decides to go on the run, and then realizing that he's going to stiff him, these folks turn around and chase him down to collect their final payment, which is not in the form of money.
Yeah.
Or the other direction this goes is that Blair decided he was going to go back to Germany to meet this girl, which is why he bought the ticket to Germany. But then something happened from some relation that scared him off, and that's why he went on the run. The only thing that really ties this is the German currency and the ticket to Germany.
Well,
That's where this seems to come from.
I guess part of it also maybe is if he was in some kind of trouble and, he was moody and trying to figure out what was going on, and his mom said, Blair, what's wrong? And he obviously isn't going to be like, I don't know, Mom, I've knocked up a 15-year-old in Germany. That's what's wrrong.
I can see why I wouldn't want to talk to
yeah,
them about that.
Right?
It's possible, but here's where my concern with this whole German angle comes from.
Oh, I have lots of concerns.
Oh, there's a very simple concern,
Well,
which is
same one as before, right? How did they find him?
no, not at all. It's the source. The source of the German angle is what really makes me question it, because there's a website called sitcomsonline.com.
Oh, yeah, those guys.
And it's a forum. And in that forum, there is a user who has only posted 6 times, and all of them were about Blair's case. And that user goes by the name of Nerd Girl.
I
And
saw her
Nerd
post,
Girl
yeah.
talks all about Blair and their relationship and the whole thing. When I read it, because I've read all of her posts, they sound either like trolling or attention. Garnering attention because I'm involved in this case.
So Nerd Girl was claiming to be the young woman that...
No.
Nerd Girl was a friend / previous girlfriend of Blair. And gives all these details. This is everything that you ever find anywhere else that talks about his interactions in Germany and this potential issue. They're all stem from this set of posts.
Yeah, I don't like that.
And I found one other person who also had a one-time post that seemed to reveal a bunch of information about the case in this same thread. That posts one time.
That
On
was Kareem something, right?
Online.
I don't remember that particular person's username.
That was the one who, if I recall right, revealed, quote unquote, that he was bisexual, right?
Yes.
And then yeah.
Yes.
And she claimed to be female and to know him, and I think she posted at least twice in that thread, if I remember right. But it doesn't really
I don't know.
matter.
Everything
I think
that
I think
happened
these
in
people
that
could all be just totally lying.
That's my problem. Is that
Or
I'm
the
not,
same person.
I'm not ripping on forums, but I'm also saying that when the only source of information comes here, I can't give it a whole lot of credit.
Yeah.
So,
But again,
I want to leave that where it is, knowing that.
Yeah, and there was also, just for fun, speaking of the German angle, the amount of variation on that was somebody out there said that it's possible that this girl was from a Muslim family, and since there's a substantial Muslim population in Germany, back then there was, now there's a really substantial Muslim population in Germany, but and so it could have been an honor killing. But again, this runs a ground on the rocks of, again, how the hell did they find him?
Yeah, how did they track him down?
Yeah.
He did a really good. He did exactly what you do when you're trying to shake a tail.
Yeah.
He changed his plans constantly, and he went nowhere that made sense.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's where the whole thing runs afoul.
Yeah.
Let's move to our next theory. Actually, the next one is the header for several theories, because again, this is
Pulling
another.
a Devin.
Well,
No, you're
I
pulling a
use
Devin.
dashes, not bullets.
Oh. Well, it's because
Okay.
you are a heathen who doesn't know how to organize things. Obviously.
Okay. Our next theory is what's going on. It's that Blair was having some kind of mental break, it's a socioaffective disorder.
Schizoaffective.
Is it schizo?
Schizoaffective,
Schizoaffective.
yeah.
I knew I was mispronouncing that, so that's why I double checked this time instead of just pretending I knew what the word was.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Got us in trouble before.
Uh-huh.
So it's possible that his behavior leading up to the time that he left town was showing when whatever he was suffering from was building steam and getting worse and worse and worse. And from there, we can split into several sub-theories.
Yeah. The only problem I have with this entire thing is that I think typically if you're a guy and you're going to get schizophrenia, it comes on between like 18 and 25 years old.
No, it's later than that.
No, that's typical. I looked it up. It's between 18 and 25, although it can possibly set in later.
It can set in later. So it is.
So it is possible.
It's not such a narrow
less,
band.
Yeah, it's not as likely as I would think. I've
I'm
never
not saying
actually
it's
heard of anybody, getting it at age 31. Usually, if you make it past about.
Just to add, if the accusations that Blair was a drug and alcohol abuser, there's a really strong causal connection. It's like not a proven connection, but a causal connection between drug and alcohol abuse and schizoaffective disorders.
We talked about that in the Bamber.
This in the Bamber one, right? That like one,
It exacerbates the problem.
a little bit, but so that it's possible that maybe Blair was a little bit exhibiting signs in his 25, and then just was trying to self-medicate with drugs and alcohol, and that exacerbated the problem a little bit. And then when he took himself off of those things, it really came in full force. I don't know. I mean, again, I'm not a doctor, so I don't know, but what I have read is what Joe has read, that it's the 18 to 25.
Yeah, that's the traditional.
But
range.
that it's not unheard of for somebody to kind of be self-medicating, and then when somebody says, hey, you're an alcoholic, you gotta go clean, and you say, okay, you go clean, and then all this other stuff.
The things
comes
that
in.
were being masked by the addiction.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we're going to go into sub-theory 1, which is Blair made the wrong person mad.
Yeah, because, people who have mental issues often say and do inappropriate things.
Or come across.
Come across like that, yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, It's entirely possible. So, I mean, if you think about it, if he is in an altered state and he leaves the place that he's familiar with and he's in this somebody's out to get me mindset, the farther he gets away from what he's familiar with, the deeper and deeper he's going to fall into this story that he's created for himself. And that would explain why he was acting so irrational or so strange in the hotel, and then leaving. But he could have gone to one of the restaurants. He could have gone to a gas station. He could have gone to a store in the area. He could have met the wrong trucker who didn't like what he was saying. He could have met somebody at McDonald's. Or at Taco Bell, or he might have met the guy who was just frustrated and tired after driving his 50-foot RV all day long. I mean, it could be anybody who then gets upset by something he says or does and attacks, because we've said this before, is the people who are most likely to be hurt
Victims.
are victims of mental illness. They're the ones who are likely to be the violent or experience the violence.
Especially with schizoaffective disorders.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he could have done that, and so somebody could have PO'd at him and taken a couple of swings at him and landed a lucky blow, and then didn't know that they had done it. And then Blair wanders off. He goes to this hotel parking lot that's under construction. He's ill now because his stomach has been ruptured.
I'm sure it's hurting.
It's hurting.
He's probably feeling a little lightheaded from all the blood loss, too.
There's that. He potentially could have had a very rapidly onsetting fever of some kind. You know, his temperature could have elevated, or he could have felt like he was hot. He's in an altered state. Get these clothes off. They're hot, which to me explains why everything is inside out. I'm a dude and I'm lazy. I drop my pants and I start stepping on them and pulling my legs out. And that pulls, if I'm wearing thicker socks, that'll pull both my pant leg inside out and start my sock going inside.
Well, I mean, the other thing to think about is, like, if he died, his stomach was ruptured, so he would have had one heck of a stomach ache.
Yes.
Right? And, like, when my stomach hurts, my entire torso needs to have, like, I do not want anything.
Nothing touching.
No pressure.
Why
at
is the
all.
air on this area?
This hurts so bad. So,
Yes.
like, I would strip my pants off too. I would just be like, these hurt really bad. You know, especially if you are in an altered mental state, which you probably are, because your body's experienced some pretty big trauma.
Yes.
It's a damn shame though that he didn't go get help, because where he was at, he was at this hotel was under construction, but it was right between two other hotels.
Well, I almost
Super 8
wonder. I almost wonder if he thought he was where he was supposed to be.
Or if
You
or if he's still in his delusion, he's hiding.
Or if perhaps he's lost so much blood that he can't think straight. I don't know. But I
Yeah.
mean, he actually could have saved himself. I mean, he was just, like I said, really close to two hotels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah,
even, I mean, he was a construction worker, right? So, like, maybe in his kind of, like,
was
muddled
going to
brain,
work?
he was like, oh, I know, like, construction. Yeah, that's a place I recognize. I know people who are there. I'll go there.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Well,
You
except
know.
That's a familiar.
I mean, it was night,
It's
yeah.
familiar.
except it's dark.
It's
Yeah.
dark and, like, it's not great, but
It actually
I
wouldn't
don't
have
know
been
if-
all that dark there, because there were so many things around there that the place would have been fairly decently lit.
Yeah, but also you don't know what's going on. I mean, people's brains do really weird things when they've experienced that much trauma. So
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, true that. He was in shock, probably. I mean, I'm sure he was in shock because of the blood loss.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Although, you know, it's interesting. You know, he goes to the construction site. He's in construction. Did he actually maybe know somebody that was working on that project? Was that the point of making his little stop off in Knoxville?
You are reaching for straws
totally.
there, brother.
Totally. I am.
Oh my gosh, stop that.
I
Let's
say
move on to
arrest them all.
subsection 2 of this theory, which infers that it was some kind of self-inflicted wound.
Yeah, he punched himself in the gut.
I don't know if you can punch yourself that hard.
No. So the way that this goes is there's in this one again, this splinters, but there's two ways. Either he is blindly running and he runs into something. Let's just say there's, boards or something, and he hits himself in the gut, or he climbs on something and falls off of it and falls down onto something that is sticking upright, and it hits him in the lower abdomen below the ribs. That would exude enough force. It also, to me, maybe would explain why people say it looks like defensive wounds, because if he was falling, he would try to stop himself, or his hands would flail and hit the things around him. Now, I don't think that is what it is, but people say that it's possible that somewhere in that construction area he may have fallen down on something or run into something.
New
Probably
theory.
wouldn't have to fall that far either, really.
Not really.
He got takeout and was choking and was trying to self-Heimlich.
That's a good one. I like that one.
That actually is a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And missed.
Except
that's a
that
big
no
thing they talk
food
about.
is reported to be found. Oh, but he could have wandered away from wherever he was eating at.
Yeah. Well,
I guess.
after, right, he tried to self-Heimlich, stopped choking, obviously, coughed up a little bit, was like, no, I don't feel good. All right, better try to walk back to my hotel.
Confused about what hotel, because there's a jillion of them there.
Yeah, and he obviously wasn't paying that much attention.
Yeah,
my
that's
theory.
entirely possible.
All right.
Because that would be a thing. I mean, it'd be pretty easy to, if you were really, really full,
Yeah.
accidentally.
I don't know how easy it would be, but
I don't think it's just as easy as it is to self-inflict that wound, at all, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
Now, if you really, really wanted to self-inflict the wound, you could actually probably do it. If you found something that's sticking out of a wall and you run into it with great force, it's just that you can't punch yourself in the gut that hard.
No, you'd have to run into something
Yeah, you would.
entirely.
Yeah.
The
Or
third
fall on
third sub theory in this group is that Blair was hit by a car. I don't put any stock in this, because if he was hit by a car, I would expect more physical damage to his body, like broken bones kind of damage.
To have been hit that hard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, although, you never know, because
That's a 1 in a million shot.
it's
Now, not that it's not possible, but
it's unlikely, and
highly
again,
unlikely.
The hotel where he was staying, the Fairfield Inn, was on the opposite side of I-40 from where his body was found.
It is.
And he might have been crossing the freeway at night, because there actually were a couple of restaurants on the other side of it. Maybe he was heading to get some food. He's crossing the freeway.
No, he was
gets
full
hit
of
by a
food.
car. Yeah. Oh, that's true. He would have had to
before
that.
full.
Yeah.
But
Oh, I know.
again,
I know.
if
He
if
went
he's
eight.
hit,
He's crossing back over, and he gets hit by the car.
but if he's hit by a vehicle that's on a freeway doing 60 plus miles
Yes,
an
there's
hour,
no way.
Yeah.
again,
Yeah.
so much more physical damage should have been done
There'd
to his
have
body.
be.
Yeah.
It's not shoulda, it's woulda.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
So again, I don't put a whole lot of stock in that.
It's and there's the other thing too. It would have done other damage. Like, for example, it hits him, doesn't break any ribs or anything like that, but it's going to knock him over, and he's going to have contusions. He's going to have contusions on the back of his head.
He would be covered in scrapes
He'd
and
be
bruises.
bruised,
So
yeah.
I'm not saying that one's a viable one, which
No.
takes us to our last one that you will see put out there, which is, and there's no supporting evidence for this, but the area that he was at, Strawberry Parkway Pike.
Strawberry Plains
Thank
Pike.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's complicated.
It is. I
it
call
was-
it SPP.
It was not exactly the nicest place to be in the mid-90s, and the cops have talked about the fact that it's kind of a truck stop, and prostitutes were known to be there, and it's believed that possibly Blair decided to...
I don't care. I'm just heading you off. This is a dumb theory because there's money all over him. Are you kidding me?
Yes.
Oh, there's
Even
that,
if he
yeah.
did get a prostitute and either she tried to rob him or he did something that freaked her out and she attacked him or her pimp attacked him, they would not literally
leave
leave
that
money
money.
on the table.
No.
Yeah.
That does
Probably
it, so
not.
that's the whole prostitute angle is out there.
No.
But I don't think
Bad.
that's at all plausible.
Bad.
No, it's not likely.
That's actually the end of all of our theories.
Really?
I personally I lean more towards the fact that he was probably in some kind of altered state and probably got hit by the wrong person physically, had a physical alteration, not hit by a car.
Yeah.
That's the
You
one
mean
that
a
I
physical
lean to.
altercation.
Altercation.
Yeah.
What did I say?
Alteration.
Well, it was an alteration of his stomach.
It did,
was.
that's true. Yeah.
Technically.
Yeah, I mean, that's entirely conceivable that, a guy or a couple of guys, because if he truly was schizophrenic, and I don't know that he really was.
That's why I'm just calling it an altered state, because I don't know. I can't even guess.
Some kind of mood disorder.
Yes.
I could see him walk. You see those guys walking down the street angrily talking to themselves. And I could see somebody like hearing that and taking offense, thinking it's directed at them. I mean, maybe I don't know.
Or I've seen the same thing. You see them walking down the street, and someone comes into their field of vision, and it's a completely different person to them, and they are having a completely different experience, and in somebody's face, and that person's like, "Whoa, get away from me! You're freaking me out! You're in my bubble!" And it usually involves some yelling and some shoving.
Yeah,
It's not a good thing.
Yeah.
No.
So that's why I'm inclined to believe that may be what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about it. I think probably the Nazis.
The
That was a
Nazis?
theory, right?
No,
Somewhere
the
in there?
Nazis never actually were.
How about
theory.
aliens?
You
Is
mean-
that a theory?
They were, but they got cut in the third revision of the script.
Oh, okay. I don't know where I stand. I'm sorry. Can't go to my two tropes. I'm done. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. I'm inclined to think that it was. I think I'm about half and half. I'm going to go 60-40. 60 that it was some sort of an accident, and 40 that it was a fight, some sort of a fight.
I just don't think. I don't really. The assassination thing does seem really crazy.
Yeah. It's
But
a,
also,
the
I
most
don't have a
far-fetched.
good explanation as to why he couldn't find his car keys. That's the big outlier for me.
to not be able to find his car keys so that he could have it towed and
But again,
stored
that
in
makes
somebody's shop.
that makes no sense, Joe, because
Unless
the
he thought
person
he
who
was
was following him would have had to have been close enough for him to realize that they were there.
I mean, I guess
Then pull that route.
unless you thought you were being followed and you weren't. And
Yeah,
If it was totally in his mind.
he thinks he's being followed. He thinks he's shaking them, but he doesn't want to leave the car out where it can be found and spotted, by somebody. So while he's overnight in a hotel, he wants the car to be locked up somewhere behind closed doors, and it was found in a shop.
It was found at a mechanic's spot. It doesn't mean it was actually locked up in the shop.
yeah,
Sure,
but it doesn't
yeah.
matter. It's not at a hotel.
And it's far away. And it's far away from him.
True.
And so that it could have been part of the whole paranoia thing. It's an expensive way to deal with that.
But he obviously didn't care.
Apparently not.
Yeah,
So-
money was he was spending money. He didn't really care. Well, if you have thoughts on this particular case, you are more than welcome to share those with us. You can go ahead and send us an email. Our email address is thinkingsidewayspodcast@gmail.com. You can also send story suggestions, anything like that to us. That's all goes through the email. We'll have the links for some of the research on this story. And you can listen to the episodes. All the episodes are on the website. The website is thinkingsidewayspodcast.com. There is also on the website, on the right-hand sidebar, if you are so inclined, we do have merchandise available. So there's shirts and mugs and all that fun stuff.
Oh, and a nightlight.
Yeah, and the nightlight, Joe's
Yeah.
favorite nightlight.
It's his favorite thing.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
There is also there is two links there. One is to the PayPal, and the other is to Patreon. So if you are so inclined and you do want to lend financial support to the show, you're welcome to do it. PayPal is a one-timer. Patreon is patreon.com/thinkingsideways, and that is a recurring amount of your choosing. These things are totally optional, guys. Don't feel like you have to, but for
Yep.
everybody who
Totally
has,
voluntary.
thank you so much.
Yeah, we
you
do
have no
appreciate it.
idea how much that helps
Yeah,
out.
it's really great.
It does help defray expenses.
Now, there's other places that we should probably tell people that they can find the show.
Oh, yeah.
We are, of course, on iTunes.
Of
so if
course.
you're on iTunes, leave a comment and a rating.
And a
We're
really
looking,
good rating.
Looking at the number of ratings that we have
It's insane.
on iTunes, and
It's
it is
crazy.
amazing.
Yeah.
We're also available for streaming on just about every streaming service that I know of at this point.
I'm sure all of them.
So you can get us on any of those. We are on social media, so we've got the Facebook account, so find our Facebook page and like it. And if you want to join the Facebook group. We're also on Twitter, Think In Sideways, drop the G in the middle. Devin is quite active on that, and it is a lot of fun. And we also have a subreddit, which I have no idea how to find, but
Oh.
evidently go to Reddit and Google it.
Yes.
Oh, I've never been more embarrassed in my life.
Yeah, me too.
No, that wasn't totally on purpose. I
I'm
swear.
sure that's
Go to the
true.
Google. Yeah.
All right. Well, I believe that is all of the information that we need to share with you fine folks.
Yeah.
So we're going to get out of here, and we will talk to you again next week.
Yeah, with another groovy mystery.
Bye, guys.
Toodaloo.
This episode of Thinking Sideways is not brought to you by Barbie leaving Ken for G.I. Joe. Instead, it's brought to you by In the Dark. Hey listeners, did you know that the hit podcast In the Dark is back? In its first season, In the Dark earned a Peabody for its in-depth study of the Jacob Wetterling kidnapping. And in season 2, they're exploring a new story with life or death consequences. It's the case of 4 people killed in a small town in Mississippi, and why a black man on death row has been tried 6 times for their murder. You can find In the Dark now on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, or wherever you listen. This episode is also brought to you by us in Nashville, Tennessee, this weekend. Hey, boys and girls, we're going to CrimeCon, but that's not the important part, because you can't get a ticket to CrimeCon, because CrimeCon is all sold out. But the really great thing is we are going to be at the Acme Feed and Seed on the 5th, which is this Saturday, 5th of May. We're doing a listener meetup. It's going to start at 6 o'clock that night. So if you want to come, please feel free. And there's going to be some guests, other guests, and some other awesome guests because we pull awesome guests. So we will see you kids in Nashville on the 5th. 2018, not 2019. Don't go there in 2019 because you'll be very confused.
That'd be sad. Thinking
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Thinking Sideways, the podcast. I am Devin, joined as usual by
Steve,
and
Joe.
known as Wolf.
No, I'm Murder Hog.
Stay tuned for next year's April Fool's episode to hear the backstory behind that.
Lots of truffles.
Yeah. Anyway, today we are going to talk about the Bohemian Grove. An important note here, I promise I will tell you guys the overview of this story, but an important note here for those of you who are screaming and excited. This is not going to be an episode about the Bohemian Club or the Skull and Bones or the New World Order, just the annual retreat with a brief exception for purposes of explanation.
Well, I
it's
just
also-
neutered this story.
No.
It's not just about the annual retreat, it's about the actual Bohemian Grove itself, which is, supposedly got a huge underground complex underneath it and some nuclear missile silos and stuff like that.
Joe?
Yeah.
Joe, that was the Denver airport.
Oh, yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's-
Wrong story.
Wrong
dude.
story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wrong story.
Yeah.
No, the whole Denver thing is a red herring.
Yes,
Yeah.
this is the real.
Yeah.
No, we're not. We're just talking about the annual retreat at the Bohemian Grove of the Bohemian Club.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry for all those of you who are already lost, I promise. Bear with me for like 10 more minutes and we'll get you there.
Man, if it takes 10 minutes.
I'm just, buffer just in case.
Oh, okay.
I also just want to thank TJ who suggested this case a long time ago.
Well back.
Thank you. So here we go.
So what are we talking about
Buckle in.
here?
The general mystery here is that since 1878, a group of high-powered men have gathered once a year in the forest for 2 weeks. That's it. Roll credits.
Yeah.
I told you this was boring.
No,
Yeah.
well, there's a little more to it.
There's way more,
They
yeah.
do mysterious
Yeah.
stuff. Okay, that's
Yeah.
it. Roll credits.
Yeah, no, the big thing here is that it's super secretive, and there are rumors of occultism, deviancy, scheming. As mentioned, not about the Bohemian Club, but I do want to give you some context. The club was founded in 1872 by some journalists
From San Francisco.
in San Francisco. Actually, can you read this little bit here? It's an excerpt from an article from 1915 that I think summarizes.
Use your old news-timey voice, please.
I'm
Yeah.
going to use my San Francisco voice.
Okay.
Use your news-timey voice.
Yeah. I'm just going to use my groovy voice.
Just
Yeah,
use
fine.
your
Just
normal
use your
voice.
voice.
Oh, it is groovy. Okay. the Bohemian Club was organized in the Chronicle office by Tommy Newcomb, Sutherland, Dan O'Connell, Harry Dam, Jay Lyman, and others who were members of the staff. The boys wanted a place where they could get together after work, and they took a room on Sacramento Street below Kearny. That was the start of the Bohemian Club, and it was not an unmixed blessing for the Chronicle because the boys would go there sometimes when they should have reported at the office. Very often when Dan O'Connell sat down to a good dinner there, he would forget that he had a pocket full of notes for an important story. So that's where the
So it's a
Bohemian
drinking club.
started. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Really.
It's a fraternal club.
Yeah.